Namaste. In the previous session, we have gone through cooling systems of diesel engine. Cooling system is one of the auxiliary system. Auxiliary systems are nothing but the systems which are going to support the main power plant, I mean main diesel engine system. With the help of the auxiliary system, the main diesel engine system is going to perform in its best. So, those auxiliary systems includes cooling systems, lubrication systems, air intake systems as well as exhaust systems and many other systems. Here we will be concentrating on those four auxiliary systems. So, in the previous session we have gone through one such auxiliary system which is nothing but the cooling system. In case of cooling system we have gone through various methods also. So, now in this session we will be looking on air intake systems as well as exhaust systems. So, now let us look on to the air intake system. So, before looking on to the system of taking the air into the engine cylinder, let us try to understand how actually the diesel engine works, because we were talking with respect to the diesel engine. We knew the engine has to perform 4 strokes if it is a 4-stroke engine, or it has to perform 2-stroke if it is a 2-stroke engine. Now, it is very clear we are making use of diesel as a fuel. In case of diesel engines, only air has to enter into the cylinder during the suction stroke. Then air needs to get compressed. Then the fuel has to be atomized and then sprayed through the fuel injector into the engine cylinder. This atomized fuel is going to absorb the heat from the compressed air, then ignition starts. Upon the ignition, the fuel is going to burn and then the power is going to release, that is going to perform the power stroke. Upon the end of power stroke, we will look on to exhaust stroke. So, these are the 4 different strokes with which the engine works. Okay, now it is very clear, only air has to enter into the engine cylinder during the suction stroke or during the initial stroke. Now, we need to concentrate on it, because if the air which is entering into the system consists of lot of foreign particles, or it consists of unwanted things or dust, if that air enters into the system, then it may affect the performance of the engine cylinder or engine. So, there comes the need of system which can provide the air, I mean pure air into the engine cylinder. That is what is the need for air intake system. So, we need to be very clear, the air what we are sending into the engine cylinder should be pure, so that engine performs at its best. So, this air intake system consists of many components. One such component is the lowers, air filter, muffler as well as a diesel engine, and all these components are based on strong foundation. So, this is how the system looks, and these are the various parts, and all those things are mounted on strong foundation. Now, let us try to understand functions and need of various components of the system. Very first component is lowers. If you look on to the structure of lowers, it looks like a window kind of thing. These lowers are nothing but the entry point to the system, I mean air has to enter through this lowers into the system. These lowers are needed because, say if air has huge velocity, if that huge velocity, I mean huge intensity of air is going to enter into the system, then it may affect. So, with the help of lowers, by altering the lowers position, we can reduce a velocity of air into certain extent. So, that is what is one such function of lowers. Apart from that, air needs to be channelized. Air has to flow in a constant proportion or constant manner to the device. So, that function will also be done by lowers. So, that is what is the need for lowers. So now air is going to enter from this side, that will be channelized, as well as that intensity of the air will be reduced by the lowers. Then look on to the next component, which is nothing but air filter. Filtering is required, in the sense if incoming air consists of any foreign substances such as dust particles, or say small dust particles or mud particles. If such kind of impurities are present in the incoming air, then that will be cleared in the air filter itself. Filters are of various types. Filters may be going to absorb the foreign particles, or filters may be sedimenting, I mean with the help of the gravity they may collect the unwanted particles at the bottom, or many such filters are present. One such filter will be adopted over here to purify the air which is entering into the system. So that is what is the function of air filter. Next, air has to made to flow through the muffler, or these mufflers are also called as silencers. As the name itself is indicating, the air needs to be silenced, in the sense the noise present in the air needs to be nullified. So that is why mufflers or silencers are used. So in order to reduce the noise of incoming air, mufflers are used. Next question that comes into picture is how mufflers are going to work. Inside this muffler, there will be a number of tubes which are connected. Number of tubes are present over here in this fashion. On these number of tubes, perforated holes are present. I mean number of holes are provided on the tubes through which air has to pass. While flowing, the sound of, the air may generate the sound wave. From one of the hole, the sound wave may come out. From multiple holes, now sound waves are going to come out inside the muffler. These waves, sound waves which are coming out of the perforated tubes may collide with each other. If they are of opposite signs, then they will cancel with each other. That is how the sound waves, the sound generated by the incoming air will be nullified in the muffler. The concept is very simple. The sound waves which are in opposite direction and which have the opposite signs with each other, they have to get collide with each other and cancel off with each other. So that is what is the one of the property of the wave. So that has to happen in muffler. So now reduced noise air is going to pass through the pipeline into the engine, diesel engine. That means this is the first stroke that has to happen. Air is now entering into the engine, then it has to perform the first stroke. What kind of air is entering into the diesel engine now? The air is filtered, the air sound is nullified. That kind of pure air is entering into the diesel engine. Then engine performs its operation with number of strokes. So this is how various devices are going to function. Now if you look on to the working principle, all devices functions are known to us. Air has to flow from this side and then enters into the system in this fashion. From right to left. So now lowers are going to channelize the air. The channelized air will be filtered through the air filter. Then through the pipeline it will be sent to the muffler, wherein the sound of the air will be reduced, or the noise produced by the air will be reduced, and then the fresh air will be sent into the diesel engine. Then we know how diesel engine is going to perform. So this is how the air intake system is going to work. Here we need to understand very clearly that filtering is very essential before sending the air into the system. Along with that, if vibrations has to be reduced, then we need to look on to reduction in the noise produced by the air. So that is how this system is going to work. So that is one such auxiliary system, we call it as a air intake system. If we move on to next auxiliary system which supports the main system's work, I mean diesel engines work, is exhaust system. We knew if it is a 4-stroke engine, we have 4 different operations. Suction, this is totally related with respect to the suction, I mean before suction this is what is going to happen. Then in the engine compression has to happen, then power has to be produced. Next thing is exhaust, in the sense unburnt, I mean burnt components has to be sent into the atmosphere. We cannot store the burnt components inside the engine cylinder. So it needs to be sent into the atmosphere. In order to send those burnt components into the atmosphere, we have this system, that is nothing but the exhaust system. It is very clear, while taking the air, we are not directly taking the air into the cylinder, we need certain processes. In the same fashion, while sending the exhaust gases to the atmosphere, we cannot easily let the exhaust gases into the atmosphere before altering those gases, I mean before reducing the pollutants as well as their intensity. We cannot let exhaust gases simply into the atmosphere. There comes a need of exhaust system. So schematic representation of exhaust system is shown over here. Let us look on to the engine side first. This is the diesel engine, main engine with which the power is developed. Exhaust manifold, expansion joint, silencer or muffler, then gases will be sent into the atmosphere. So these are the various components of exhaust system. Let us try to understand the functions of individual components of exhaust system. So now this is the exhaust manifold. If we look on to the sketch from the engine, through various passages exhaust gases, I mean burnt gases, are entering into the manifold. That means the manifold is going to receive all the exhaust gases, I mean it is a receiving device. Exhaust gases will be sent through these passages into the exhaust manifold, through which it will be sent for the further action. So burnt gases will be entered into this exhaust manifold, then it will be passed through expansion joint through a passage. Let us concentrate on this device now, expansion joint. We know the exhaust gases which are burnt gases which are released by the engine are not at atmospheric temperature, they are at very high temperature. Whatever the material we are going to use for the passage of exhaust gases, I mean for the flow of exhaust gases, their temperature, I mean their operating temperature may be limited. If the temperature with which the exhaust gases are moving through the passage is too high, then there may be a expansion of material because of subjecting those to high heat or high temperatures. There may be a huge chances of expansion of the material because of huge temperatures. So in order to avoid this expansion, we have provided expansion joint. That means whatever the expansion that we are expecting because of the temperature has to happen in this expansion joint. We are trying to avoid the expansion of the actual passage by providing additional device which is nothing but expansion joint. How this expansion joint functions? We were very aware in the previous session while talking with respect to the thermostat, we come across the bellows, I mean balloon like structures in which certain fluids are placed. Once the operating temperature of those fluids are reached, those fluids are going to expand, thereby bellows are going to expand. So in such a way the bellows will be provided inside this joint. Once the fluid inside the bellows reaches its evaporation temperature, these bellows are going to expand. Thereby the actual expansion of the passage will be reduced, and that expansion that has to happen will be transferred to the expansion joint bellows. If operating temperature comes down, then expanded bellows will collapse. If it is increased, they will expand. If it decreases, then they will collapse. So that is how this joint is going to take care of thermal expansion of passage. That is what is the function of expansion joint. So now one of the thermal expansion which has to happen has to be taken care by the expansion joint. Next thing is this is a support structure for the huge pipeline, silencer or muffler. Whatever the function we have talked with respect to muffler in the air intake system, the same function has to be done by this silencer or muffler. Silencer, as the name itself is indicating, it is going to silence, it is going to silent the gases which are released by the engine cylinder. How it functions? Again it is same. This silencer consists of number of perforated tubes through which the gases has to pass. These perforated tubes are going to generate the sound waves. If those sound waves are in opposite character, then they will collide with each other and their intensity will come down. They will cancel off with each other, their intensity will come down. So that is how silencer or muffler is going to function. Once the noise is reduced, then gases will be let onto the atmosphere. So now manifold is going to collect the exhaust gases from the engine. Expansion joint is going to take care of the thermal expansion of the passage. Silencer is going to reduce the noise that is generated by the exhaust gases. So now if you look onto the working principle, it is very clear. Diesel engine is going to perform its work. Now this device is required for exhaust, I mean to take care of the exhaust gases. These are the passages through which exhaust gases will enter into the manifold. Through the manifold, gases will pass on to the expansion joint, wherein thermal expansion of the device will be taken care by the expansion joint, and then the gases are passed on to the silencer, wherein their sound intensity will be reduced. Then gases will be let onto the atmosphere. So this is how the exhaust system functions, and this is one such auxiliary system which is essential in order to have the proper working of main plant, which is nothing but diesel engine power plant. So now we were clear with air intake systems as well as exhaust systems. So in this category itself we have to look on to various filters. Here we have come across air filter. Here I will be talking with respect to the oil filters. These filters can also be used for air also. Here we were not going to look into the sketches of these filters. Instead of that, the surface level reading of this is required at this stage. So it is very clear. Filter is a device which is going to remove the unwanted particles or the dust particles or foreign substances from the actual substance, whether it is a oil, whether it is a fuel, or whether it is a air. If any foreign substances are present in that, then those needs to be removed before sending on to the engine. That device which is going to perform the removal action is called as a filter. In diesel engine we are going to use these 4 different filters, such as mechanical filters, magnetic filters, sedimentation filters, as well as centrifugal filters. So let us look on to one by one. Mechanical filters. In this filters, the devices such as papers or a thin cotton or a thin wool will be used as a filter in the passage. So if I provide a filter over here, if oil is flowing through this filter, then whatever the foreign substances which are present in the oil will be absorbed by this thin mechanical component, which may be a paper, which may be a cotton, which may be a thin sheet. So, the impurities present in the oil will be absorbed by this filter, and then the oil will, the fresh pure oil will be supplied to the engine cylinder. So, now this is acting as a filter. Here these filters are going to absorb the foreign particles. Because of that, these filters need to be continuously replaced or continuously cleaned if it is cleanable. So, that is what is the need of mechanical filters. Second thing is magnetic filters. As the name itself is indicating, the filters are of magnetic type. What is the need for the magnetic type of filter? In case if any ferromagnetic substances, iron components are present in the air as well as the oil, then those iron components needs to be attracted, removed. So, in the passage of the oil, those magnetic filters are provided. So, these magnetic filters are going to absorb the ferromagnetic substances which are present in the oil, then the fresh oil will be supplied towards the engine cylinder. So, that is how these filters are going to work. Here continuous replacement of the magnetic filter may not be required, because this is a magnet. The ferromagnetic substances which are attracted by the magnet can be easily cleaned off from the magnet. So, such a device is considered as magnetic filters. Next thing is a sedimentation filter. Sedimentation filter or gravity based filters, we can say. The name itself is saying sedimentation, which is nothing but the collecting at bottom, sinking or gravity pulling. So, that is what is the name of such filters. Say for example, if heavy particles are present in the incoming oil, then those heavy particles has to be passed through the sedimentation filters, wherein light oil will pass through the filter and heavy substances which are present in the oil will be sedimented or will be collected at the bottom, and then the oil will be supplied to the, fuel will be supplied to the engine cylinder. That is how these sedimentation filters or gravity based filters are going to work. Next thing is centrifugal filters. In the previous stage, we have looked onto the sedimentation filters wherein the total action was gravity. Because of gravity, the heavy particles were collected at bottom. Now, here it is a centrifugal action. Centri in the sense from the center, fugal in the sense throwing away from the centers. In the sense the particles will be thrown away from the center. Here the gravity will not come into picture. The action of cleaning of the oil will be based on centrifugal action of the filter. The filter will be of continuously rotating type. This rotating action of the filter is going to create the centrifugal force. Centrifugal in the sense continuously throwing away from the center. Thereby the dust particles or the foreign substances which are present in the oil will be sent out from the passage, and then fresh air will be, fresh fuel or fresh air will be supplied towards the engine cylinder or to the required point. So, that is how the various filters are going to be working, and one such filters will be used in wherever filters we are going to apply, whether it may be a air filter or whether it may be a oil filter or fuel filters. So, that is what is the concept of filters to us. Here we do not have to worry about the sketches, because we have to look onto the types of filters in a surface level. So, that is why we have not written any sketches over there. So, that is what is related to the filters. Okay, now let us look on to the next auxiliary system, which is nothing but the lubrication system. We know for an engine to function to its best, we need to provide the proper lubrication, because various moving parts will be there, various relatively moving parts will be there, various rubbing portions will be there. All those things needs to be frequently lubricated so that those parts will function properly. For that reason we need lubrication system. So the main purpose of the lubrication is to provide the necessary lubrication for the parts which are in relative motion with each other. That is the main purpose of lubrication. Other purposes apart from the lubrication is cooling, cleaning, sealing, as well as reducing the noise which are produced during the operation. Let us look on to the various other functions now. Lubrication, it is very clear, in order to provide the oil between the various parts which are in relative motion with each other, or the parts which are in rubbing action with each other. Next thing is cooling. Upon the rubbing action, there may be a generation of the heat because of the rubbing action. So in order to remove that unwanted heat, proper cooling of rubbing portions is required. For that purpose, we cannot provide the another cooling system. That will be taken care by the lubricating oil itself. So that is the next function. Next thing is the cleaning. So now various particles may be present on the piston rings, cylinder wall surfaces upon combustion of the fuel. So those unwanted particles needs to be eliminated from their positions. So that action will also be done by the lubricating oil. That is what is cleaning. Next thing is sealing. Sealing in the sense proper fitting of the devices. Say for example, piston consists of piston rings in it. Those piston rings will be continuously subjected to the expansion as well as contraction. So expansion and contraction is continuously happening from the piston rings. So proper sealing is required for those piston rings upon the piston. So that action will also be performed by lubricating oil. And the last operation is reducing the noise. Since engine is continuously running, there may be a lot of generation of the noise. So that noise needs to be eliminated, or else it will lead to various vibration problems. So lubricating oil will also have the function of absorbing the vibrations, thereby reducing the noise. So these are the various functions of a lubrication system along with its lubricating oil. Now let us look on to the various lubrication systems with which the diesel engine can be operated. So various lubrication systems or types of lubrication systems are wet sump lubrication system. This wet sump lubrication system is further divided into three categories: splash system, semi pressure system, full pressure system. So these three will come under wet sump lubrication system. Second system is a dry sump lubrication system, and the last one is a mist lubrication system. So these three are the types of lubrication systems which are available to us in order to provide the lubrication for a diesel engine. So now let us look on to the individual systems. There I have written dry sump lubrication system as well as mist lubrication system. Then we can come on to various wet sump lubrication system. Now come to the dry sump lubrication system. So now the name itself is indicating that the dry sump, in the sense sump what we are going to use to store the lubricating oil is dry. In the sense we are not going to store the lubricating oil in a provided place, which is nothing but the sump. That is what is dry sump means. And then actual lubrication system. Here the sump indicates the crankcase portion. In a lubrication system, we need to provide the lubrication by the lubricating oil. That lubricating oil will be stored in the crankcase in case of wet lubrication system. This will not happen in the dry sump lubrication system. In the sense, the lubricating oil will not be stored in the crankcase of the engine. Then how the lubrication will happen and where the lubricating oil will be stored? That is the question now. So let us look on to the schematic sketch with which the dry sump lubrication system is going to operate. So now this portion is considered as dry sump, which is nothing but the engine crankcase. Why we are calling it as a dry sump? Because the lubricating oil will not be stored in the crankcase of the engine cylinder, whereas in the wet system it will be stored. That is why it is wet. Here it will not be stored, that is why it is dry. Now from the dry sump, let us look on to the next device, which is nothing but the strainer. Strainer will act as a filter which is going to remove the unwanted particles. Next thing is pump. The function of the pump is to pump the oil, pressurize the oil. Next thing is filter again. So here also filtering job will be done one more time because the oil is pumped over here. So pumped oil will be filtered. Next thing, pressure relief valve. I will come back to the function of this. Next thing is the oil which is pumped through the pump will be stored in the separate tank, which is nothing but the supply tank. Then from the supply tank through the pump again it will be supplied towards oil cooler. Then with the oil cooler the oil will be cooled, then it will be sent on to the various devices which needs lubricating, I mean towards the engine cylinder. So these are the various components with which dry lubrication system, I mean dry sump lubrication system operates. So now let us look on to the actual operation. So now the oil upon lubricating comes into the sump, which is nothing but the engine crankcase. From the crankcase, here we are not going to store the oil. So from the crankcase it will be passed through the strainer, in which if lubricating oil has absorbed any foreign particles, that will be removed by the strainer itself. Through the strainer the oil will be pumped towards filter. Then through the filter, I mean what happens in the filter? All unwanted particles, if they are present still, they will be removed. Then one more circuit is there. Here if pressure of the oil is too high, because oil is pumped at this stage, if the pressure of the oil is too high, then that pressure will be released by bypassing the oil towards pressure relief valve, and then again it will be passed through the filter, then it will be sent towards supply tank wherein the oil will be stored. Next, this stored oil has to be pumped again towards the cooling device. In case if this pump is going to pump the oil at very high pressure or high pressure is developed, then again the oil will be recirculated in this circuit. What is this valve? This is nothing but the pressure relief valve. If the pressure developed by this pump is too high, then this pressure relief valve is going to release the pressure, and then the oil will be again recirculated towards the oil cooler. If the temperature of the oil which is supplied through this passage is too high, then this oil cooler will act as a heat exchanger wherein the oil will be cooled, I mean the temperature of oil will be reduced. Then this oil will be supplied towards various parts of the engine which needs to be lubricated. So this is how the dry sump lubrication works. Here one thing is very sure, that we are not going to store the oil in the crankcase. That is why it is called as dry sump. For the storage purpose we have another place which is called as the supply tank. So this is how dry sump lubrication is going to work. Next is a mist lubrication system. Mist in the sense in the form of spray or in the form of bubbles. The lubricating oil needs to be supplied to the various parts of the engine. So now we don't have a schematic sketch over here. We cannot show the mist kind of lubrication that happens inside the various parts of the engine, but instead of that I have written a flow chart over here. Let us try to understand this flow chart so that we will come to know what happens in the mist lubrication system. The name itself is saying that the cooling, I mean the lubricating is happening in the form of mist. I mean the lubricating oil will be collected onto the parts in the form of mist. How that happens? While supplying the fuel to the engine itself, fuel will be mixed with the lubricating oil. That means we are not only supplying the fuel to the cylinder, along with the fuel we will be supplying lubricating oil also. By mixing fuel and oil in the carburetor itself, we will be supplying fuel and oil mixture to the engine cylinder. So now it is a diesel engine. It is very clear, in case of diesel engine, first oil has to enter into the crankcase, and then through the transfer port the oil has to enter into the actual engine cylinder, initially to the crankcase and then to the transfer port. Now let us look on to this crankcase. Once the mixture of fuel and oil is supplied to the crankcase from the carburetor, in this crankcase various parts will be cooled, such as connecting rod as well as bearings, because crankcase is exposed to the bottom of the piston, connecting rod, crank as well as various bearings. All these parts will be immersed in oil as well as fuel, so that the oil is going to perform its lubricating action on these parts. So that is how these parts will be lubricated. Then the oil has to be passed from crankcase to the actual engine cylinder through the transfer port. So once the transfer port opens and then oil as well as fuel enters into the engine cylinder, there piston rings as well as actual cylinder will get lubricated by the thick oil which is in the form of mist. So mist form of oil will be going to lubricate piston rings as well as the cylinder walls upon entering into the engine cylinder. So now here, this, in case of diesel engines, this transfer port entry of fuel into the cylinder is called as the scavenging, because this entry fuel has a responsibility of exhaust also. That is one kind of concept we have learnt, scavenging. That scavenging phenomenon also is going to help in cooling the piston rings as well as cylinder. I mean cooling in the sense lubrication. So this is how the mist lubrication system is going to work. One thing is very clear, we need to mix lubricating oil with fuel itself. From the carburetor it has to be supplied into the crankcase, wherein few of the parts will be lubricated, and then once fuel enters into the actual cylinder, another parts will be lubricated. So that is how mist lubrication system works. But here it is very clear, a lot of the mist particles will be burnt while power stroke of the engine. So simple construction is there, simple operation is there, but we need to look onto the effectiveness with which the lubrication is happening. But with the help of this mist lubrication system, huge engines cannot be lubricated. For smaller kind of engines, we may adopt mist lubrication system. If the engine is of larger size, if the engine is producing huge power, then we need to adopt dry sump lubrication. Most of the industries are adopted dry sump lubrication system because of its high efficiency when compared to that of mist lubrication system. So these two are the lubrication systems that we have studied in this session. In the next session, we will be looking on to wet sump lubrication system. So this is what is for the today's session. Namaste.